Hey everybody, welcome back to the Get Together podcast. I am Alyssa.
I'm Stacy.
And today we have
Tamara.
Tamara and I went to high school together, actually, back in the good old days. So tell us about yourself. I mean, we weren't actually like friends. I knew who you were.
Yeah.
And I think I asked you for a piece of paper once, and that was like the most of our high school interaction.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Well, that's a loaded question, but we'll start with born and raised in Fort Worth, and after Boswell, I went to Tarleton and Stephenville and did my bachelor's of science in kinesiology.
Oh, okay.
And got a teaching degree too.
Cool.
Worked as a personal trainer at the rec center, did some tours on campus, and after that I went and got a master's of occupational therapy, went to University of Texas Medical Branch. From there I did some rotations in Austin and met my husband shortly after. So I was working as an occupational therapist, met him, and I can share the story later, but we were dating just for 4 months, got pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And it really rocked my world. It really rocked my world. But yeah, so working as an occupational therapist, I have over 10 years in healthcare. And I'm actually on this journey with my husband where we are about to open up our own business called Joyful Roots Health and Wellness, where we focus on body optimization and functional nutrition. That's my new passion, my new love, functional nutrition. And so we're really excited to just kind of start working on it more and taking our own clients and really working with people that want to get to the root cause of a lot of our health problems that we're seeing now.
Yeah.
That's so needed. And having this really broken healthcare system that we've had for a really long time.
That's really cool.
We have 2 kids. Claire is 9 and Samuel's 4. So
awesome.
That's a little synopsis.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
I know it was kind of, you crammed it in. You're visiting family right now because y'all are not here anymore locally. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come here. And
absolutely. Kind
of worked out. It's raining and gross. So you said your family's just like chill today.
Yes. Yeah. No, glad to be here.
But you're the real deal. Like that's a lot of school and a lot of titles. That's very cool.
Yeah. Schooling. I really just went from, I never really had a job until right out of graduate school. Mm-hmm. And then right after graduate school, starting to work as an occupational therapist, I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, whoa, like life, that wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
That's not how I thought it was going to go.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to have, I'm going to work for a little while. I'm going to travel. I was thinking about going to New Zealand and doing some study abroad. But God has other plans.
Yeah, always.
And met my husband on the green belt. And so life looked a lot different than what I had planned. Yeah. But, it's always God's plan. And sometimes I know for me, I have a problem with control sometimes. So it was just nice where I was like, okay, I'm finally like, hey, you can't control your life. Like it's not going to work out in your favor.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I feel like every time we try to take the reins, God's like, oh, that's not going to happen. Throw something else, some other curveball. I mean, it always works out, it's always good, but goodness.
So you said functional, what did you say?
Nutrition.
Mm-hmm. What is functional nutrition?
Yeah. So, whenever we sometimes will go to a regular Western doctor, let's just use an example of you're having a lot of stomach issues or maybe you have insomnia and they just prescribe a medication. Mm-hmm. Functional nutrition is really going to look at what is the root cause of what's going on and how are we going to treat you with nutrition. And looking at more of a holistic view. So we're not going to mask it with some type of medication. Right. We're going to do sometimes it involves functional labs, maybe even stool testing, to kind of really understand what's going on in your body system that is causing these other symptoms.
Right.
Sorry. So it can be a lot of investigating and not just settling and saying, you know what, I'm not going to give you just a medication to mask what's going on. Let's try to dive deeper. And a lot of times it can be fixed with nutrition. And then also there's an emotional component to it too. You know, a lot of illness from all the stress that we have, past trauma. Yeah. So it really encompasses a whole lot. But the functional nutrition part is really just using the nutrition to treat what's going on.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like our society is, as a whole, I say that, maybe at least half, are realizing that that's important now. And they're like, oh my gosh, we've been doing it wrong for all these years. Yes. So it's hard for people, like, because I believe wholeheartedly in nutrition. Do I follow good nutrition? No. I have like a 80-gram sugar coffee. But like, I see my grandparents and they are so like, oh, the doctor said. And I'm like, but he's like literally giving you poison pills. Like, can you please get off of those? And they're just like so hell-bent on listening to the doctors. Yes. I'm like, man, we need more of this. We need more functional medicine, functional doctors and stuff. But yeah. And it's hard too, because like where I live, we're kind of in the country and there's not anything around. I have to drive 30 minutes to an hour if I want something like that. But yeah. But so you're doing things online as well, though. You're like trying to get...
Yeah, you know, that kind of started, really just kind of being creative. I never really got into the Instagram or the Facebook because I was always in school. Yeah. And then I started having babies. And then it was just like, I wasn't really in a good spot to even focus on what I love. Yeah. So I think it started with a post about my younger self. I met my younger self. And when I did that, I was like, this is therapy for me. You know, realizing that I need to go back and heal from certain things. And I have gone to therapy in the past and it was very healing. So when I did that post, it kind of turned into, I actually really love talking about this stuff. Yeah. And I don't care if I'm only helping one person or one person sees it and takes something away from it. It's very therapeutic for myself to kind of move through those things as well. So where I'm going to go with that, you know, depending on when Todd and I get our own page for our business, or I keep my own page. But I feel like I need to separate like family from business and kind of decide on that. But it's really been me kind of playing around with it and figuring out what is kind of my message that I want to promote, and just seeing where it kind of goes from there. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because that exact post is the one I think that I commented that I was like, you should be on the podcast. Oh, yeah. Because I had told Stacy, I said, this girl I went to high school with, I was like, she just posted this. And I mean, like I said, I didn't really know you. I knew of you, and you were in the popular crowd. And so for me, being somebody quiet and not in the popular crowd, hearing like the background of your younger self, I was like, man, I would have never guessed any of those things. And I was like, so it just really made me want to talk to you more and figure out, you know, like your whole thing now. I love that you're just doing it creatively. But I mean, I think you are spreading a message. I think you're getting it out there, and I've enjoyed all of your recipe things. I've been following, you know, I'm like,
thanks.
Oh, this is like my new influencer I like to follow.
And I feel like I'll get into, you know, a rhythm where I'm like, okay, I'm going to film this or do that. And then I'll go weeks and I'm just like, I work full time, you know, taking care of the kids. And it does get a little time consuming whenever you have to like sit down and start filming and editing. Yeah. Y'all know how it is. So other times I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this. It's going to be at the very bottom of my bucket. Yeah. But yeah, happy to share anything. And like you said, we really don't know what people are going through. And I didn't want to put that out and make it seem like, oh, I've had this terrible, you know, upbringing or this childhood and all this trauma. That's not it, because I love what God has done through my story. And I've had a lot of healing through it, but I feel like it's important for people to know that you're not alone. And a lot of things that we experience should be shared. We're created for connection. Exactly. And when we hold them inside, and maybe sometimes we even paint this picture or tell us a story in our head that we're not good enough, that God doesn't love us. That's not true. And I felt like that a big part of my life. And would you want me to share a little bit about
Go for
that?
It if you'd like to.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely can.
We're here for it.
I can kind of I'll do a general starting out whenever raised by mom and dad, going to church, and it wasn't necessarily like a relationship with God. It was like, this is what you do, and this is what you do on Sunday, this is what you do on Wednesday. Dad never went to church with us. He was always working in the yard. He had 2 jobs. So really it was just my mom taking us to church. And then they got a divorce, and that's kind of where I pinpointed some of the changes to go, start happening with myself. I was in 4th grade. And then, I started to live with my dad, basically got caught sneaking out when I was 12 or 13. And it was like, okay, you're going to go live with your dad. And he didn't really have any rules or regulations on me. Long story short, I was 13 whenever I kind of started into experimenting with drugs and alcohol and sex. Very, very early on, had my first boyfriend, serious boyfriend, talk me into it. And I by no means am, condemning him or anything like that. Like that's just kind of what went down. I was 13, he was 17. Was that right? It wasn't right. So I share that because I used to have, and goes for a lot of things that have happened in my life, I used to have this very condemning spirit where it wasn't God's voice, it was the enemy's voice or my own voice. And it was basically saying, you're bad, you're dirty, God doesn't love you. And so I had that from that time on up until actually my 30s. Where I had this voice, and of course I would continue going to church, but would feel like that. But I remember I was 13. So I'd lost my virginity. I'm experimenting with a lot of alcohol, doing different drugs, mainly marijuana, than the pills. And it wasn't like I was going to school high and stuff, but also smoking cigarettes. But I had met up with a pastor's wife. I don't know if you remember Jeannie Taylor. No. Okay. So I
sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar.
Yeah. She was wonderful. She had multiple kids at Boswell. And I met up with her, and she's kind of explaining to me what it looks like to walk in God's path, some things that, we do as Christians. And I remember one of them, she was talking about saving yourself for marriage. And when she said that, my heart sunk. And, I was 13, and I was like, I can't really turn back now. Like I can't go that path.
Yeah.
So I am now considered this path, and I chose it. I decided, you know what? I've already done this. God's not going to forgive me. I didn't understand it at the time because I didn't tell anyone how I was feeling. Yeah. So I'm going to continue down this path of destruction and just doing what I want. So continue down that path. And, it wasn't until I got into, into my 20s, started going to church more, but never really had that relationship with Christ. Continued with the whole boyfriends and even started to experiment with the whole Molly scene. I don't know if y'all remember that scene. I do. I got into that scene a little bit. It was unfortunate, but, I finally was able to just pull myself out of it and separate myself from a lot of people. Sorry, I feel like I'm going on a little tangent of it.
Go for it.
No.
But, so continuing on with my walk with Christ, I get pregnant. I was telling y'all with Claire, and I'd only known my husband for 4 months. And this is kind of the story where God really showed up in a big way. And I used to never tell anyone it because I had a lot of shame around it, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with y'all. And I finally told my mom too about it. So I get pregnant, and I did not want to have the baby. And I went to Planned Parenthood, and I put it on the books. I was going to get an abortion, and my boyfriend at the time, now husband, he was not for me. He did not want me to do that. He was like, this is a gift from God. He was very positive about it. And I was just like, this isn't what I had planned. I don't know you. Like, I've only known you for a couple months. I wanted to move. I was in the middle of buying a condo in Austin. And I was just like so self-centered in my head, like this is not what I had planned out. I'd scheduled it, and I was praying a lot, still had a relationship with God, but not not like a back and forth. It was just like me asking him, please do this. Yeah. Please do this. And it wasn't like really me being in the spirit. So I remember sitting on my bed one night and I'm just like crying out to God. And I'm like, God, if you don't give me a sign or show me something bad may happen, something that I may regret. And I was extremely confused, I didn't really have a solid Christian group that I was surrounding myself with. So half the people that I hung out with were like, oh, everyone does abortions. It's fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I had a couple of other girlfriends that were like, oh no, you want this baby. Yeah. Like, you know that. And, so I had a lot of confusion. And so I say that prayer, and Todd and we were still going to church together. Like, even while we were dating, we were going to church on Sunday, still living in sin, going to church. And I pray that prayer, and we get to church on Sunday. He didn't even want to go, because we're still kind of like I have something on the books that may happen. Yeah. He didn't want to go, and I'm like, come on, let's go. We always go on Sundays. And we're sitting there, they do all the singing. And we sit down, and here comes the drop down. It was like a drop down screen. Mm-hmm. And on the title it says abortion, and they preach over abortion that day. Oh wow. And I'm just like shaking. And I'd never really felt the presence of God, like a message that was for me. Yeah. And some people say, oh, that's just a coincidence. No way. No, actually, I think I looked it up. There's like less than 10% of preachers will preach on this topic. Oh yeah. And I was like shaking the whole time and crying and holding his hand. And, I looked at him, and when it was done, we went out. There's a little Lady Bird Lake, and we sat there, and he said, we're going to make this work. Mm-hmm. And God has a plan for us. And, it really just changed my way that I viewed it. And I was like, I didn't have this plan. This is, whether or not God wanted me to get pregnant right then, this was his child that we were going to bring into the world. Mm-hmm. And so right there, I, made that decision. I'm like, I'm having this baby. Mm-hmm. And, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. And I'm not going to tell you everything was just like peaches and roses after that. Like, God transformed my life. But that was really kind of the start of what Todd and our journey, and understanding like God brought us together to carry out a purpose. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't like the easiest time, because we weren't married for about 1.5 years. But we decided to get married. I was like, I'm not going to marry this guy just because I'm having a baby with him. Yeah. But we get married after baby. And so that's kind of been our walk. We were baptized last year. I had been baptized as a child, as an infant. But really taking that next step. And at first I was like, I'm an adult. I don't need to be baptized. I do not need to do this. But the church that we had been going to, and understanding like Jesus was baptized twice, you actually have to make that decision. Yeah. It is an outward expression. And so we were baptized, and really just, I will say, it's been my 30s where I've understood it is a relationship that you have to have with Christ, or else you're living in this like, God, please do this for me type mentality. It's not the works that we do. Right. And I thought that for so long. Mm-hmm. Like, God wants me to go to church. He wants me to be good to people and pray. And those were the things, but that's not it. It's like we are missing the boat. And I finally figured it out in my 30s that it's actually a relationship that he wants from us. And I'm not saying like my story is clearly not done, but that was kind of what I was talking about when I had messaged you. I'm like, I can share this piece of it, of what it kind of looked like. But yeah, sorry, I feel like I talked your ear off there.
I appreciate it. I know that's a tough story, but like you said, all glory to God, because I was thinking while you were talking, the slogan that God never wastes a hurt, but he also never wastes hurt that we may cause ourselves in sin. Like you said, like y'all living in sin, that was obviously not God's plan for y'all to do that. But, your daughter clearly has a purpose, and
Absolutely.
like, who knows what she will grow up to become and what she can do for the kingdom because of your obedience and willingness to do the right thing after, you know, like, what a beautiful story, like redemption.
Yes.
Well, God can turn anything around
Yeah.
to his glory, you know, and that's just the amazing thing about God. It's like he can take something that you think is completely hopeless, completely, you know, my life is over, and turn it into something so beautiful that you didn't even realize, oh, well, this was before me. But I was so caught up in the destruction of it.
Yeah. 100%.
That's so good.
I just wanted to also mention, like, I know there are a ton of people that have had abortions.
Oh, yeah.
But and I've talked to a lot of women too after I've kind of shared this story, and they're crying. They're like, I've had an abortion. And I always say, like, God still loves you.
Yeah, absolutely.
He loves your heart. You are forgiven. Just bring it to him. And although I didn't do that, like, having those thoughts in my mind for a really long time of I'm a bad person for ever considering this,
thinking of it.
And you know, Todd and I had a miscarriage when we were trying for baby number 2, and the first thing in my mind was, you're bad. You deserve this.
Right.
God wants you to feel this pain because of what you were going to do. And, you know, that's the enemy.
Yeah,
those are, you know, my thoughts. But I still struggle with thoughts of condemnation. And I had to tell my husband, and he's like, you know, finally when I opened up to him about it, he was like, wow, that's really deep, you know? Like, I can't believe you like go through that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we all struggle with something in life, right? And that's just something I had to, like, keep in check, and always remember, God is for you. He is not against you. He loves you so much. So I always say that because, you know, we're in Austin, so people are all for, you know, the abortions, and they're for that type of stuff. And I always, you know, when women do that, I feel like the whole piece of it, they're missing what happens after you do this. And there are a lot of women that are coming forth saying, I felt like my soul was ripped out.
Yeah.
I felt like, and they don't talk about that.
No, because they're trying to push the agenda that it's okay and normal.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and exactly. And it's not. And I feel like there's a huge need for it to be put on blast. Like, this is not okay. But if you have done that, it's not that your life is over, that you are a terrible person. You know, so I wanted to just mention that too. I don't think that I'm perfect for not doing that.
Right.
No.
I just want to, you know, say that. Yeah, for sure.
I think, though, that's a common sentiment. Like, I know people close to us that have had abortions, and same kind of thing. Like, when they were trying to get pregnant and they couldn't, she thought and he thought, you know, this is our fault. You know, we brought this on ourselves. But like you said, there is no condemnation there. Like, Christ would not punish. Like, he does not punish us for the mistakes we've made. He's always willing to forgive. And
well, then once you're given that revelation, you know, once you were, like, your eyes were opened, like, then you see, you know. It's like that woman, that story in the Bible where she comes to, or they bring her to Jesus, and they're saying, you know, she's an adulterer, we caught her in the act, you know. And instead of, like, him condemning, you know, he's like, who of you can cast the first stone? And instead of, like, you know, condemning her, he just sat there and he played in the dirt, and he just waited. And then he was like, you know, like, instead of the condemnation, it was just love. And it was like, well, go on and sin no more. Like, he didn't necessarily excuse, but he was like, you know, you are loved. Like, here's this, and now take it, you know?
Yeah.
I was listening to a pastor the other day, and he was speaking on that specific story, and it just spoke so much to me, because I feel like we do that to ourselves. You know, we condemn ourselves for these things over and over and over again. And God's like, no. Yeah. Like, there is no condemnation. And it's the constant renewing of our mind. You know, we 100%. Wake up, we have to renew our mind. We wake up, and the way we do that is relationship with God and getting in his word, and, like, you know, hiding it in our heart. Yes. And, like, you know, constantly doing that.
And it really is. It's like a battle. Like you really do have to fight the flesh daily because
100%.
You just think terrible things in your own head. And it's like a constant, like there's been times in my low points in life that I have literally just been like, God, take this out of my head. I can't even do it. Like I'm too weak to think good thoughts. I'm too weak to even fight this. And by his mercy, my gosh, he does it. Like, yes, it's a fight. It's hard, but yes, he does it. Absolutely. Very thankful. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to help so many people.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
As you share and as you know, even your business and everything like that. That's just, it's so amazing how you were talking earlier about sharing is healing for you, and how sometimes we feel like, you know, you want to share, but you almost feel like you have to like close up. Well, we were talking about this with our friend who joined our podcast just a couple days ago, is that when you're going through those things and you have all this condemnation of yourself, you just want to hide away.
Yes.
And that's exactly what the enemy wants. He wants you to seclude yourself from everyone else and thinking you're the only one here. You're the only one hurting. No one, you know, no one cares, you know. But when you start to share that, then you realize, okay, these people do need this because they're going through the exact same thing. And I'm not alone. Like so many people have gone through this.
I don't know why we ever get that in our heads too. Like the Bible is clear, like nothing is new under the sun. Right. And like we always think our experience is the first.
Right. Yeah.
We're the only ones ever felt that way. And it's like there's countless other people who have, if not the exact same story, very similar stories, because we're all related. We all got the same things going on. Yeah,
100%. There was a girl at the gym, and she had made a post, and she was talking about her struggles with anxiety, depression, and again, on the outside, I would never think that about this girl. And I saw it, and I was like, oh. And I saw her at the gym. I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I saw your post, and can I pray for you? And I loved that you were so honest and open, and it was, and she starts crying, and I'm tearing up, and just knowing like we're not alone. We should be having relationships together. And when you see another brother or a sister that is sharing something, us as Christ followers, we should reach out and, I see you, you're not alone. And even if it's just like the littlest thing, like going up and, saying, hey, I'm there for you, or like giving him a hug. Like I didn't even know this girl really. I just followed her from social media, and she happened to be at the gym. But I was going to mention, after that service with the whole abortion, I listened to it many times afterwards, and I reached out to the pastor after I had, did I have Samuel too? I think it was just Claire. I send him a picture, and I write in this long email, and I'm like, I just needed to tell you that 10 years ago I listened to and it wasn't 10 years, I think it was like more like 7, but I listened to your sermon. I was in person, and it saved something that could have really gone a different way. And he emailed me back, and having this back and forth, and he's like, your email came at the right time. He had some health things going on, and I just made it a point that when people are impacting my life, I'm gonna let them know. I don't care how little it is. And just showing that appreciation and saying, hey, you may not even get it all the time, like you're doing a good job, but we should be cheering each other on in this life. So just had to mention that.
It's so funny. Like the last couple of months, I feel like every interaction I've had with other Christians, it's like everybody's having this revelation right now of relationship. They're like, we gotta be about relationship. And I think a lot of people are burned out with like the current church model, because it does seem a little detached sometimes. Like if the leadership isn't very relational. And so everybody we've talked to has been like, oh, we need relationship. And it's just like the running theme right now. So I really like that. One, I was going to say, like, what kind of first got you into fitness or just kind of the health realm? Because you're like in it. You're not just doing like one thing. You're like in it. So
I love everything.
Tell us a little bit about how you got onto that side of life.
Well, my dad started taking me to the gym when I was in elementary school.
Okay.
And, I did cheerleading and some sports in high school. And then in college, I started working at the rec center. and was doing personal training. So I was a personal trainer for a little bit and taught some classes. And then I really started to become interested in nutrition and during my nutrition class. And understanding like, oh, I can actually manipulate my weight if I eat certain foods. It became unhealthy. Okay. And I like to call it a mild eating disorder, where I was not really eating much. I would eat like a half can of tuna, half a grapefruit. I was very like, I know that apple has 50 calories. And I know that banana's got way more sugar than an apple. And, you know, it was a little weird. I don't want to say weird, but it was a little, it was a little controlling. And my girlfriend was finally like, hey, this seems like it could be a problem. Yeah. And people had commented like, you've lost too much weight. I'd lost my period. And it was just getting to the point where I became very obsessed with it. Obsessed with the working out, obsessed with the losing weight. And so finally, when my girlfriend came to me, she's like, hey, it's looking a little weird over here. We need to go get you some chicken strips. And don't be afraid.
I'm in.
No, we legit did. She was like, because I was afraid to eat. Yeah. Like, I was afraid to eat unhealthy foods. Yeah. And so finally, she's like, let's go ahead and like call it what it is. You need to stop. And I was living alone, so it didn't really help. You know, you're like in your own. And I was actually smoking some pot at the time, and it was just not really helping.
How were you doing that and not eating?
I actually
get snacky.
Yeah, no, I think I did a lot of like, I was like doing a lot of mind work, meditation stuff. Like, was not really into my walk with God at all. Yeah. It was kind of taking an interesting turn. But when I kind of finally knocked out of that, and then I went to grad school. So after grad school, you know, I'm still doing the healthy thing. I'm working out, I'm eating. It just wasn't out of control or anything. Whenever Todd and I, after we had Claire, we were trying to get pregnant, and it was taking a really long time, and had a miscarriage. And then I had this really weird stuff going on with my stomach, and it happened multiple times in a row. Was just vomiting, couldn't figure out what it was from, and I'd had like this trapped gas in my stomach where it was like, you know, oh my gosh, something's feeling like it needs to come out, it won't come out, and severe nausea, to the point where I ended up in the ER because I was dry heaving so much. I couldn't throw up anymore. Everything was out. There was nothing my husband could do at the time. And he was like, I think you need to go to the ER. Well, first I just went to a regular appointment. And then from the appointment there, like, you need to go to the ER. Wow. So was in the ER. They did every single test that you could think of. And they come back in. We can't find anything wrong with you. I thought they were thinking I was drug seeking at this point. And I'm like, I'm upset because I'm like, I'm in healthcare, guys. Like, I'm not here to get your drugs. Right. Like, I'm not touching that stuff, you know, during this point in my life. And they couldn't figure it out. They're like, you need to go see a GI specialist. And they didn't talk anything about, you know, diet. They didn't talk about, you know, how are you doing with your stress levels? It was just like, let me give you this medication. Go take this medication if your stomach starts hurting. So I go to the GI specialist, and he's like, I don't know. It seems like it could have been like maybe a gallstone, and sometimes they will cause these symptoms. So that's when I started to be on this journey of, well, I'm going to try to figure it out for myself, because nobody else is interested in this.
Which is wild to me. Yeah. That they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's some meds.
Here you go.
I don't know if these are going to work. But...
And these meds made me feel terrible. Like, gosh, after taking it. Yeah. And so I end up working with a functional nutritionist. And I go to her. I'm like, I can't get pregnant. You know? And, also this happened with my stomach. And I'm just kind of telling her. And I loved everything that she did. I cut out the gluten, I cut out the sugar, I cut out the dairy. And I'm really focusing on just like foods that are replenishing, that are, just packed with all the vitamins and the minerals. And we're going over the foods that I was eating, and I wasn't eating well. Yeah. You know, I was a new mom. I'm stressed out. I'm just eating on the go. And I wasn't really prioritizing it. So I worked with her for about 8 months. And we're doing some supplements, and we're healing what she thinks is probably my gallbladder with the issues that was going on. And then COVID hits, but I end up getting pregnant right during COVID.
Oh, wow.
And we have Samuel a year later, but that's kind of what started my whole journey on what is this functional nutrition? And if she helped heal me from this, like, why am I not a part of this? I love this. And I was working as an occupational therapist, working hands-on with patients at the time. So they do go very hand in hand with the same kind of thought process and how we evaluate patients and what we need to do to kind of get to the root cause. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. And then my husband is a family nurse practitioner, and we've just, the past couple of years, we're like, we got to start our own thing. But really, we want to be different because we want to incorporate Jesus into it. And make it our own and not just be working for, large corporations and things like that. So that's kind of where we're at now with it. And kind of the story which leads us up to now. So I'm like right in the middle of it. We're going to be, opening up. I say opening up, it'll be mostly virtual, but offering our services, and we're super excited for it.
I love that. I'm excited to see where it goes. Maybe I should probably be a customer.
A
patient.
Please come on.
I'll be calling you.
And I think the way that healthcare is kind of going is we're going to see some changes with it all, right?
I think so too.
Everyone's starting to wake up and they're like, all right, well, we don't like the food dyes. We don't like the artificial stuff. We understand like processes killing us. So I think more people are kind of becoming more interested in it, and it should be included in our healthcare, right? Why are we just treating sick people? Why is there no benefit to being healthy, and why can't we incentivize people for being healthy? So I can't wait to see what they do with everything and all the changes.
It is kind of exciting. It's like I said, like the past generations are just kind of like, man, whatever. They're eating Twinkies every night and like, why am I sick?
Well, like give me medicine for my high cholesterol. And, just give me a pill to fix it.
My mom just recently took herself off statin drugs because she was like, I think they're bad for me. I was like, I think you're right. She had been like watching videos, and I was sending her YouTube videos, and she's like, I'm stopping these. But she feels better, and she's done some other things and taken a bunch of different other supplements to kind of combat it. And she went back for a visit, I think a month or two ago, and her levels were fine. Like they weren't elevated, or they were right around normal still. So she was like, well, I've been off of them for a while. She kind of did like a slow detox from them, so she didn't just immediately quit.
That's what I was going to ask.
But her parents are still on anything and everything, and she's like, would y'all just stop? But I mean, they're like 80 something years old. They're not going to stop doing what they're doing.
It's hard. Once you're kind of in the system and they have you on multiple medications, it's like you're taking this to combat this, and if you get off this, then this is gonna, and so it is.
What a crazy balancing game. Like, why are we on so many drugs that if you stop one, this one's gonna freak out, and then if you take this one, this other one's gonna kill you? Like, it's so crazy.
You always want to be working with like a practitioner when you are dealing with when you have multiple medications, because at the end of the day, like clearly you want to be healthy, but you don't want to just like stop them all and then something terrible happen. Did your mother incorporate like exercise with her?
She has been.
Cool.
So, and she's actually lost a lot of weight. Well, she says she hasn't. She's like, I'm losing inches. And I was like, well, that counts. But I saw her last week, and I was like, oh my gosh, you look little. And she's like, thanks. So she's been working hard. But
I love that.
So I know the answer, but it was on my list of questions to ask, is like, how important would nutrition fit in with fitness? Because I have a cousin who is like, abs are made in the kitchen. Like, he's so like, abs are made in the kitchen. I'm like, well, I like Taco Bell. Because I've been working out, but I struggle with nutrition. It's so hard for some reason to get that under control. And then with 4 kids that are like so picky. Oh my gosh, girl. I make a healthy meal and they're like, I don't like this. I'm like, it literally has everything you like. Meat, cheese, there might be an onion. And they're like, I don't like it.
Oh, I feel you. And there's always a time, for it whenever we want to help it improve in our lives, and kids, they will 100% lead by our example and
Yes.
what we're doing. And to be honest, like, I will be making something and you're either going to eat it or you're not. And,
Yeah.
you know, they're
That's
not going to.
how I am too.
Yeah. They're not going to go hungry.
Yeah.
Like, we're not, this is not abuse here. We're just saying, hey,
Right.
this is what I'm making. The reason why mom wants you to eat this is because I want you to feel good. And you are going to feel good in making that connection.
Yeah.
God has created you to have a fulfilling life. And, you know, you don't have to go in the spill every single time, but God has made all the fruits, all the vegetables. He wants you to
Pull out a
feel
gong.
good. Yeah.
Oh, children, listen.
Don't you feel it coming into that side of your
But to answer your question, yes, I don't feel like you can have an excellent exercise life, fitness life without the nutrition. And same goes for both of those combined. You can't have those and then not be worshiping God. Because I've done it where I've only been focusing on, I'm going to, you know, do the exercise and nutrition. And I became hyper-focused, was not, you know, worried about God and making that a part of my daily routine. And it backfired. And you don't find fulfilling joy if you don't have God in what you're doing.
That's so true. That's good.
But the abs made in the kitchen, yeah, girl.
Yeah, just go ahead and say it. It's true.
I honestly, so this is what I say. If someone is like brand new into just health and wellness in general, and you're just like, I have to do something, the 4 things that I say to start with is assessing your sleep, like starting with very basic things.
Yeah.
So assessing your sleep. Are you sleeping? Do you have a good, like, I'm going to bed at 9 and I'm waking up at 6? Or, you know, are you going to bed at midnight, waking up at 5?
I'm going to go ahead and leave this podcast now. This is already going downhill for me personally.
Just run out. Bye.
You're like, this is too much.
Enjoy your episode, Stacey. I'm leaving. It's a lot, Tamara.
So sleep, looking at your gut health, and I mean, I could go on and on about gut health. I'm not gonna talk.
We might have to have you on
Ear
like
off.
another podcast
Yeah.
just to talk about that.
Yes,
because
it is. In itself.
I need a gut health chat.
Yes. So focusing on your gut health, because there is a huge brain gut connection, and your food is mood, right? Like what we're putting into our body is going to affect our mood, even if it is all that sugar and you're enjoying it there for a minute. It's making you all excited,
You feel like trash afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like just poison.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
No good in sugar at all.
Yes.
Me and Kenneth ate out like 3 times one week a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we both were like, oh my God, like we got to stop this. I feel like absolute butthole.
I know,
It was so bad.
I know, but it's good to correlate that, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're just like more motivated as to how am I going to make this a priority in my life, and that's all I've done is that's so important to me that I want my kids to live a long life, right? Because with all the processed stuff, like they are addicted to it. Like the kids, the generation growing up. But thankfully things are changing. So hopefully it will change. It'll continue to change. But what we're doing now is setting the stage for our children.
Yeah.
Don't we want to be around for our grandchildren?
Exactly.
Don't we want to be feeling well so we can go out and serve God's people and be able to just have good interactions and feel good enough to be able to interact with others?
Yeah.
But okay, sleep, gut,
Okay.
movement,
Okay.
which is just, you know, exercise. But I don't care. You do not have to go into the gym and lift weights.
Yeah.
I want you
Just
to
walking
move.
or
Yes. And don't be hard on yourself. You know, you gotta
Yeah.
start somewhere. So getting that movement in. And then the last one is connection. Connection with your higher power, which Jesus Christ is mine. And connection with others. So I those are the 4 basics when I'm like, if someone is like brand new into it, like let's not get crazy with here is your workout routine. I want you to start doing 100 push-ups a day. I want you, you know, no, let's just be very basic with it.
I think that's the hardest thing too for people. It's like, I know for me, like I have started a workout program and then fallen off the wagon, then I start back up. But just in the last 2 years, I've finally been like consistent with it. And so if I do fall off, it's like for a few weeks and then I get back on. But I was that way. I was like, I gotta just like jump all in and go crazy. And then this last round, finally this past year, I was like, just like be normal. Just go,
Just
do
chill.
what you can, and then eventually just push yourself. And it really does get to that point where you want to push yourself and you want to do a little better. It's like, I just upped weights the other day, and I texted my cousin. I was like, I upped my weights. I'm going to be so awesome one day. He was like, good for you.
I love that.
We have like
so
our little
good.
accountability group that we're always talking in. So that community. So
yes. Yeah. That's so important too. And making it fun too. It doesn't have to be like, I'm dreading this. It should be like, man, I'm so blessed. God has given me a body, and I get to go and I get to use my body to do all these fun things. And
it is crazy when you incorporate the Lord into that, because
100%.
Like, I would get in our little gym and lift, and I would listen to trash music, like freaking Doja Cat crap. I was like, I don't. It's so catchy. I'm like pumping it up in there. And then one day I was like, just try listening to worship music.
Yes.
And I was like, it just doesn't pump me up. And then I was like, oh, but why? Like, it's the Lord that should pump me up the most.
That's right, girl.
So I've made that switch, and I literally, I think it was like the third day that I was listening to worship music, I ended up like in the floor of my gym, just having like a come to Jesus moment.
Yes.
Like, and it started with, I was lifting, and I was just, thank you, Lord, that I have a body to move. Thank you that I can still move my body. Thank you that I have the ability to make it stronger. Yes. And the Holy Spirit just like, whoosh, like in our gym. Like, what the heck? I'm glad I was at a home gym.
I love that. That's
it's amazing
so
though how, I mean, our spirit man, they're all, together. I was in the gym the other day, and I was just like, I had woken up, and like, there was just a darkness, and I was like, ugh. So like, I was just feeling I was like, anything I listen to today, it's going to be a sermon, it's going to be worship. And I listened to a sermon while I worked out, and I felt more like, I was like, yes. Bump it up. It's like, yes.
Come after you, Satan.
Yes. That's so true. I love that.
But it was so good, and my spirit felt so much more replenished when I left, because not only was my spirit getting the, but my body was too. And it is, there's just a soul, mind, body,
100%.
Like they're all connected. And when they're all
it's
working
like
out, it's like you're like some kind of superhuman.
Yes.
Like,
I'm in alignment.
It's lighting up.
Oh my gosh, that needs to be a shirt. I'm in alignment. We can have, like,
I'm in alignment.
That's so good. That's so good. We started doing cold plunging a few years ago, and my husband bought one. He had this debilitating back pain that he lost a bunch of weight. He was about to go in for surgery. That's a big journey thing that he went on, but we ended up getting a cold plunge. But any time that I'd get in the cold plunge, I would just start praying. I would start out with the Lord's Prayer, and then I would just go through everyone in my family, and starting with my relationship with Christ, my relationship with Todd, my children, and just use that time in the cold plunge, which is only like 3. Sometimes we'd even do it 10 minutes, just a prayer. And people are like, "What do you do while you're in there?" I'm like, "I'm praying." Like Jesus was able to hang on the cross. This is nothing compared to what he's done for us, And there's a lot of times I just start crying. I'm like, I'll be listening to worship songs in there, and I'm just like, man, you've done so much for me, Christ. Thank you so much. And people may think I'm a little wacky with it, but I'm like,
that's so good.
I have a hard time sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Getting up first thing in the morning, I should be going right to Jesus and start praying, but I don't always do that. So when I don't, I really try to incorporate it with some type of exercise, or when I'm, doing some type of practice. So it looks different for everyone. Ideally, I'd like to get up and like start journaling and reading. But the reality is I work at 6 a.m. So it doesn't necessarily carve out that time right then, unless I get up at 4:30, which is not going to happen. So, clearly your relationship with Christ is the most important part, but sometimes I put it in other areas.
Yeah. I think he loves that. It's like incorporating him into our whole day. That's like you would with any relationship that's new and fresh. Like when you start dating somebody and you want to be together all the time. You just carve out little times to text them or call them. It's the same thing. Yeah. Just cold plunging. Yes. Cold plunging with Jesus.
Yes, exactly.
And when you start that, it's like with working out too. Like once you start working out, you crave it, and it's like that with our spirit too. Like once we start making that time, it's like, okay, I need, like, I want more. I want more. Like it's that relationship.
Yeah.
Like it's in so many areas of our life. Like just the older I get, the more I'm realizing like there's so much balance in our life. Like I think I could see how easily in the like yoga and all that, how it gets all like, oh, the balance, but it is true. But in the right way, like God is our center.
That's right.
And when you balance everything around that, it's just such a cool, I'm in alignment.
Yes. Yeah. I was in yoga a couple months ago. I did a little reel, and it was Bible verses with working out. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if people, there's a lot of people that are Christians that don't do yoga,
right,
because of this enlightenment. And I had gone in my 20s where I was very interested in Buddha and enlightenment, and I was experimenting with that. And it's not a path that I recommend anyone go down, but I was in yoga, and the girl at the very end was, saying some yoga-esque stuff, and in my mind I was repeating back, like, God, I am nothing. She was like, talking about yourself, yeah. And I'm like, God, I'm nothing without you. I'm nothing set apart from you. Please, help me to do your works. And just in my mind, I was praying a separate, different prayer, and utilizing that, like, you can go to yoga and make it a part of your relationship with Christ and your prayer time. It doesn't have to be the yoga instructor is just there to tell you how to move, but you can honor God with your body and through your mind and your thoughts when you're
I'm on the same page. I've heard so many pastors and people say that, like, oh, when you do these poses, you're praying to these alternate, like, deities or whatever. I'm like, but I'm not. Like, I'm literally just kind of stretching and strengthening.
Yeah.
Because I did gymnastics in high school a little bit, and I'm like, I guarantee you some of the stretches and things we did were the same as yoga. You're gonna tell me I was, like, worshiping other deities unknowingly? Like,
right. I think it's where your heart is.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think it can go, like, being in mountain, like, you can go way far this way. I heard a testimony of a lady who was obsessed with yoga, like, to the point where she was an instructor. That was her life. She was like, I lived and breathed it. And at the time, like, she was not living for the Lord or anything, but, like, it was a constant. And she had a story of, like she was in her room, and, like, it was a scary story. Like, she kept hearing things in her house.
Oh gosh.
And she had gone to, like, a prayer meeting or something, and this lady, like, prayed over her, and she was like, do you do yoga? And she was like, well, yes, like, that's my life. Like, I'm a yoga instructor. And she was like, have you been experiencing weird things? And she's like, yep. She's like, that's the God of whatever.
Oh, wow.
Like, she was so obsessed with it that it was, like, in gold. Like, it was with her. It was.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure, like, she quit altogether.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
But I mean, for her, it was like,
it's different.
That's
for
where she was.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you got to be careful with it. Not to make things your idol.
Yeah.
And definitely with anything with fitness, nutrition, whatever it is in life, what are you idolizing? Are you idolizing your kids, your control in life? And definitely that's an interesting story.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't mine, so she told it way better than me.
Yeah.
I like, though, that you were, like, you went to a yoga class yourself and used that time for you and God.
Yeah.
But I mean, he calls us to be salt and light, and how do we salt the earth if we're hiding away from places like that where you could potentially be a witness to somebody else?
Yeah, my sister's actually about to start her yoga certification, and I sent her this yoga book with Christianity tones, I think some just scripture in it. And I'm like, I don't want her to be turned away from it once she starts this certification. If she's like, whoa, this ends up being, what they're teaching in it. You can make it your own, you can be a Christian yoga instructor or whatever. So I just think there's always areas that you can always bring Christ in. And
absolutely.
Just thinking about the gym, there's been times my husband's in the gym with someone. He's like, I prayed over someone today at the gym. I'm like, I love that about you. That's awesome. So hot. He's really good at doing that. We've actually baptized a couple of people too in the past couple of years after we got baptized. I know, kind of random stories, but just here and there's been some people that were like, is this something that you really want to commit to and have those opportunities?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you all been baptized as adults? I was just curious.
Well, not as an adult.
Yeah.
But I, like, our church, we just had, like, a huge baptismal service, and it was like, I was photographing the service, and, like, just being close to, like, the pool or whatever, it was like you could just feel the glory of God because all these people, like, it was just, there's a beautiful power in it, and it's like, it was just amazing. So I mean, I don't know, the Lord's, I've been kind of, like, thinking about it, like, do I want to be baptized again?
Yeah.
I felt that way my husband and I, we're almost divorced around like the 6-year mark of our marriage. And throughout that time is when I like truly, it's like I've known the Lord my whole life. I've been a Christian my whole life. But during that time, I had to fully rely on him for the first time in a deep way. And I realized that my family, my husband, my children could all fail me. And I was like, but the one constant that will never fail is the Lord. And I literally just leaned on him, cried on him daily for months. And coming out of that, I was like, I almost feel like I know him now for the first time. And I was like, I probably should get baptized as an adult, because I got baptized when I was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's what you do. Like, oh yeah, I love Jesus, I want to be baptized. So you do it. But as an adult, it really is just that simple. Like, I love Jesus and I want people to know. And so I feel like I need to be adult baptized just as like but Kenneth has felt the same way too. Thankfully God completely restored our marriage, and we're better now than ever. So but yeah, we probably should do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, where's a pond? Let's go, guys.
Let's go get her right now. Go fill up the tub.
It's such a cool thing. Like, even on our service, like, I'm taking pictures and they're like, anyone else? So almost like,
I want to
bring my camera.
Hold my camera.
Coming up. But there were like people that did, and it was just so cool.
Love that.
It's definitely an expression. Like, this is, I love Jesus. Like, this is my life. Like, he is my life. And
I was gonna say, coming in and hearing your music, your worship music, I love that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it was like maybe 2-3 years ago when I started to realize, like, oh my gosh, what is this crap that is on the radio? I was like getting so mad. And I was like, I think my daughter was like listening to a Taylor Swift song, and I'm like, turn it off. Yeah. And I started to turn on Air One radio. I don't know if you'll ever listen to that, but you can ask your Alexa, play Air One. We listen to that every morning. Especially when we were going to school, like, in the mornings I'm making breakfast and they're there. And the kids are just randomly singing these songs. Jesus, singing songs to Jesus. I'm like, this is the best thing I think that I've done. This tiny little switch, which we weren't like always listening to music in the mornings, but I kind of became very hyper aware of what message I'm giving to my kids. And with the music, it was huge. And then I actually kind of didn't mention this, but I was 17 in high school and decided to get breast implants. It was very stupid. You probably didn't know.
I remember that, actually, honestly.
You're like, and I remember.
So I was like literally a wallflower, okay? I didn't talk to anybody unless they talked to me. I was super quiet. But I remember that being like the talk of school.
Oh
like,
my gosh. What was I thinking? Girl.
And I remember thinking, why is she doing that? Yeah. She's so beautiful and perfect already. So like, sweet. Why is she doing that?
You're so sweet.
And I don't know. You were like the one popular person that I was like, why is she popular? Like, not in a bad way, but like, she's actually nice. Like, why is she run with all these people?
Yeah.
Because you were always so kind and so nice.
You. Yeah.
And just a sweet countenance about you. And some of the people that were popular were not that way.
You're right.
So I was always like, why is she in that crowd? But
yeah. I'd always had self-image issues. It definitely started when I was in elementary. I remember being in elementary and I'm like packing my lunch and like I just put like bread and cheese and a tomato or something. And I like the lunch lady was like, hey, why aren't you eating? And I just always had these it was never positive self-image about myself. My mother was I don't want to say constantly doing diets, but she was into the fad diets. Yeah. Where maybe she would have a lemon in the morning and then,
it was the 90s, man. Yeah, right? That's all that was the crazy diet.
And she had implants. And I thought that if I get these implants, I'm going to love myself. I'm going to love my body. My boyfriend at the time I had pretty just like one long relationship. Like, he's going to love me. He's not going to cheat on me. He's going to want to be with me. And I was like, I'm going to do this. My mom and dad were definitely like, you really shouldn't do this. Yeah. But I was so controlling of what I wanted to do. that it was going to happen. So I write my mom a letter. I convinced my dad. I'd lived with my dad starting in, I think it was 6th or 7th grade. Lived with him, and anyways, convinced him, and went and did it. And I'll tell you, it did nothing. It did nothing except make me feel less insecure. And I didn't like the way that they looked. My chest in general is not like super close together, and I'm very just naturally flat. So whenever I got them, they kind of like came out to the side, and I wanted to have cleavage. Sorry, am I getting too much into
No, not at all. No, not
sure. Okay. So I didn't like them after I got them, and I like look back on them like, what? How is God going to use this story? I'm not even sure.
He will use it.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Because I didn't like them. I remember like seeing pictures. I'm like trying to push them together to get cleavage. I just wanted cleavage. And I didn't have it. And so I'm 17. I get them at 21. I'm like, I want them out. I want them out. Like I never felt attached to them. It felt like a foreign object in my body, which it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy. People are still doing this.
Yeah.
And so I was 21, and I was about to go to grad school, or I was in college. I just didn't have the money. I should have did it then, but I didn't. And so I finally, 17 years later, I was 34, and I take them out, and it had been 17 years. And they didn't tell me that I was going to, what I was kind of getting myself into, right? There's this, again, kind of like the whole abortion thing. They don't tell you that there's going to maybe be some psychological components behind something like this. So I didn't remember what my chest looked like before. And so they take them out, they do a lift. He's like, are you sure? The doctor, he's like, are you sure you don't want to just replace them? And I'm like, I am not here to come back under the knife again. Like, I am really concerned about just in general my health. It's not good for your body to have these in it. They take them out, and I am like completely flat. And I actually came to Fort Worth to do it. I'm staying at my mom's house, and the sutures get wet because I fell asleep with an ice pack on it, and I have to go in there, and I can barely move my arms, and no one's there to help me. I'm like my mom's there, but I didn't want her to come in. And I'm like taking them off, and I look in the mirror, and I just like start crying. I call my sister. I'm like, just bawling. What did I do to my body? And kind of having to work through it again. Like, why did I do this at such a young age? Why couldn't I have been happy with my body? And I'm finally at a point where I'm fine. Like, now I don't care. Like, I'm happy with my small little boobs. I'm not trying to wear push-up bras and just like all the weird stuff we would do. I don't know if y'all were like ever into the like push-up bras and stuff, but I was kind of documenting making videos of my recovery, and then I stopped because I had this really bad time with depression and anxiety and like paranoia almost, because I couldn't work out. They didn't want my heart rate to get up after this procedure. It was a very big procedure. They go in, they scrape to get the sac from your implant. I think I'll do a post on it in the future, just to kind of show people like, this is no joke of a surgery.
That's crazy.
Girl,
it's like making my
it hurt for a while, but I decided as I was getting them out, I was like, I'm gonna be the strongest version of myself after this, because this I felt like was really holding me back. I don't know if I ever had the breast plant illness that everyone's talking about. I had inflammation, definitely had inflammation. But, and then I, that unexplained stuff in my stomach, I had no idea if it was correlated.
So that happened while you still had your implants
in?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, wow.
I finally got him out after baby number 2, because I was like, I'm not going to have any more babies. I was nursing, was still able to do all that. But I was just like, I was so ready. And I have never felt more comfortable in my skin now. Like, I even like with my husband, being intimate with my husband, I never wanted him to touch my chest when I had implants. I was just like, oh, like these are gross. But that was kind of a part of like the little health journey too, because I was like, I'm taking these out. I even explained it to my little girl. She was at the age where she was gonna know what was going on. I just took out 2 pounds almost of saline in my body. So I had to explain it to her, and I'll have to explain it to her when she's older too, but just teaching her, God makes you for a reason, on purpose, and he wants you to love your body. Yeah. We don't need to go under the knife and try to alter our appearance. Yeah. And
amen, because that's such a movement right now. People and their lip fillers and their Botox and all of the things they're injecting into their faces, like everybody's starting to look the same. Yeah. And everybody's still unhappy with the way they look. Yes. It's like 100%. This should be a clue.
It's a heart issue. Yes. It's a heart issue.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I've done Botox. I can probably count it on one hand times. And then this past year, I was like really just feeling like this is toxic. Yeah. They're going to find out like how bad this is. Just like they're finding out with everything, right? We're finding out every single month there is a new ingredient that is causing cancer. Right. There is a new ingredient that is harmful. And I'm like, how am I still doing this and being okay with it? I haven't done the filler, but the Botox I had done a couple of times, and now I'm trying out the frownies. Have y'all seen the face tape? I've been doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I had thought about Botox for a little bit because I started getting migraines. Like I hit 30 and started getting migraines. And I was like, what is going on? So I was like, well, I could get Botox and kill 2 birds with one stone. I'll stop my migraines and get rid of my wrinkles.
Did it?
And I'd never started because I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm like, there's something about needling my face. Like, I just can't. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So I was like, I'll just, I don't know, find the root cause probably of my migraines.
Probably hormones.
Functional nutrition. Okay, listen.
Girl.
I'm a hormone wreck.
Oh, okay.
Let's
get you set up. Gosh,
that's what I'm talking about. So I've been like doing all the research and doing all the things, and I've started trying to eat better. Like I know I need to be high protein and I need to be all these things, and it's just so hard. So on that note, what would be like your one piece of advice if you could send people away on how to get started being a better, healthier version of themselves?
Man, there are so many, but I think the big take home with especially this age that we're living in, this has to be a part of our everyday life.
Right.
And love it. Do not expect like these fast results. This is just something we have to incorporate. And you want to...
It's a slow burn.
Yes. Yeah. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. I don't want you to go get Ozempic. I don't want you to start your routine and just expect that this is going to be a quick fix in 2 weeks and then you're done. No. Yeah. You're going to have to learn to love this, learn to have some type of connection with your higher source, saying like, I'm doing this because God wants me to feel good. I'm doing this because I want to teach my children what it looks like. Because we're going to, again, we're setting the stage for them as when they're older. We want to try to prevent all these diseases and these illnesses. Sometimes it's inevitable. We will get sick, at some point. Yeah. But what can we do now to help us in the future? So, there's so much to it, but just understanding that it has to be incorporated in your daily life and not getting this whole idea of this quick fix. Yeah. It is not a quick fix.
That's good. That's my toxic trait is I'm like, I ate one salad. Why am I not 15 pounds lighter?
Yes.
Yeah, I would go into a cycle, like going to the gym, and my body is different now after having kids. Before it's like I could just watch what I eat and I just lose all this weight, quickly. And I feel like, I've always prided myself of just loving myself no matter what. But I think undertoned, there's always been an insecurity there. I never went crazy
we're just all wired that way.
Yes,
all are
especially as women,
better.
We want to be this what we see, and we're like, I just wish I could be like that. I always had the smaller legs. Like when I gain weight, it's all up here, and I just never had the body like other girls. But I also would combat that with this is who I am. So I've always prided myself in that, but I know that there's things that I need to work on because there is insecurity there. But it's a cycle, working out, and then I get so upset at myself, or not upset, but what the heck? Nothing's changing, and and then I just kind of like, ugh, whatever, like give up.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. My husband's has been on this health journey, and he's doing amazing, and all the things you're saying, like he's really put into play, like trying to go to bed early, waking up, reading his Bible, like he's like, we need these, and I think it's hard for me to be on the same page with him sometimes, like,
sure,
when someone's up, like the other person,
yes.
So I don't know. I want to support him, and I want to do those things, and I want to make sure I'm just not a cook.
Yeah.
So like wanting to have all those things and do something with them, like meats, like vegetables, but make it good.
Yeah.
Because I have a habit of cooking and not wanting to eat what I make because I'm just grossed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know,
do
like chicken or I don't know. I don't know if I'm even making sense.
It makes sense. I think everybody has their weird things because like I just hate cooking. Like I could literally open a can of tuna, eat that for dinner, and be fine.
Yeah.
But like my husband wants a freaking 5-course meal, and
Same.
I'm like, that ain't me. Like I don't want to cook all that. And then my kids are like, can we have pizza? And I'm like, no, we're eating healthy. But then I'm like angry in the kitchen making it, so it's like,
yes,
enjoy your food.
Eat it now. Yeah. I'm gonna mention the Instapot because it's just like. I don't know if y'all have an Instapot, but
we do. We haven't used it in a while.
Okay. I mean, just doing some shredded chicken in there and having that in the fridge. I'm just like talking easy things when you don't want to cook, throwing it on your salad, spicing it up, and having tinga tacos, and just like having a couple of good meals. Making tacos at home, not using the packets of seasoning because those have a bunch of nasty additives, but just easy things that the whole family likes. And it can be kind of boring at times, but at least that your food that you're eating, you know where it's coming from, that it doesn't have a ton of additive stuff. And I know it is hard to get creative, but really just focusing on the foods that grow, right? Like not coming from packages if possible, and protein. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I know it's like anything, we overcomplicate it. Like
we
it
do.
Really is
we
that
really do.
Simple. But I'm like, but how? How do I cook the vegetables?
I know,
like,
and
how do I make it good?
I love seeing all the videos on Instagram, but in reality, are you really going to do all of those videos? Yeah. And so it's like, which ones do you really want to do? Just take some of those really nice big family meals and I don't know, put it in the rotation. That's it.
I feel like meal prepping would probably be life-changing too, but I cannot bring myself to spend an entire day doing I hate.
Meal prep.
Like I don't want to cook.
Yes.
Like I'll spread it out through 7 days of the week and be miserable every evening.
I'm gonna have to bust out my Instapot. So my husband has a health coach with his job.
Okay.
They provide them one.
Yeah.
If they so choose, and he's been doing that. And it's funny you said that because the health coach was like, just Instapot, like my wife and I,
Yeah.
And all these things you're saying, like he's a good health coach. I guess, because y'all are. But yeah, I have to
I'm gonna dust mine off too if it's like up in my cabinet. I haven't used it in probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea.
Yeah. And I know I keep going like back to this, but just really like praying over your food.
Yeah.
Or like praying over the act of preparing it. Thank you, God, for letting me be able to do this for my children. Yeah. Help fuel the bodies of my family, of myself, so we can serve you. And I know that's so high level, but sometimes we just got to go back to our why and why we are here.
Because there have been days, like I joke about being so angry about cooking because I hate it, but there have been nights where I have actually felt off. Like it's not just an annoyance, like I'm bitter. And I've had to be like, okay, thank you, Lord, that I have children to cook for.
Yes.
Thank you that I have food to cook.
Yes.
And then I have a husband who makes money for us to buy the food to cook.
Yeah.
Like all of these little thankful things, they do add up and help when you're in that mindset.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta force yourself.
Centering back, like, God, you are the reason we're here.
Yeah.
Thank you that, it's just.
For sure.
God is so good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This has been amazing.
So
thank you so much for coming and sharing
me.
all of your story. Like, I think, you said that one portion, you're like, I don't know if this is going to help anybody. I think everything you said is helpful to somebody. Like, that was so good. What an incredible testimony.
Yeah, all for the glory of God. Like, again, I don't tell stories to pity me, right? I feel like I have learned a lot, and God has showed me a lot. And my story's not done, but I only want to better his kingdom. So if it's one person that's like, I feel like you were right, like God does love me, then I'm happy with that.
Amen. It's funny, we talked when we first started this podcast, we were like, we're not going to just like be a Christian podcast. Like we're going to be about everything. But like every episode we've done, we've talked about God, and I'm like, that, well, we're a Christian podcast at this point. But we're like, we can't take it out of us, you know, like we're not going to avoid the topic. But and then we have people like you on, so this has been really good.
Yeah, I love it. I love what y'all are doing. So keep up the great work.
Thank you.
It's definitely needed.
We'll link, if you have like an Instagram or your Facebook, whatever you want to link, we can link in our show notes.
Okay,
so
perfect.
people can find you and follow you if you're still planning on doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
But other than that, thank you again so much. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you both. Thank you both.
And we will see you guys at the next get together.